Okay, welcome. I'm really honored to introduce you to our guest speaker today, who is going to speak about lymphatic drainage and all things lymph and immune and oily goodness. Her name is Christy. Is it Zittel or Zeidel? Now I should probably
Zittel.
Zittel. Thank you, Zittel. She is the mom of 13 amazing children, 7 girls, 6 boys, and will soon be blessed with her 7th grandchild. She fell in love with and married the love of her life, Steve, almost 31 years ago. She has personally utilized Young Living, her love of Young Living, to transform herself by losing over 200 pounds, releasing and healing from many emotional traumas, and renewing her mind and spirit. Throughout her transformations, physical, emotional, and spiritual, 2 things have remained: her infectious love of people and a desire to share the lessons of life that she has learned. Christy and Steve live in Troutman, North Carolina, with their 5 of their youngest children. She's a platinum leader with Young Living, a fully certified with the center. She is fully certified with the Center for Aromatherapy Research and Education, which is called CARE, and offers Raindrop, VitaFlex, and emotional release through her license as a diplomat of pastoral science and medicine. She is nearly finished with her certification in emotional code and find it is truly her privilege and honor to share her knowledge with others all over the world, which she's going to do right now. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Christy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's truly an honor to be a part of this. Any opportunity to be able to share the things that I've been able to learn, and even opportunities to research further, just kind of jazzes me, and I love it. So we're going to start today with the lymphatic system. And I have been personally focusing a lot on this system. And so I never cease to be amazed at how God works and moves, because I had actually been researching the lymphatic system, noticing some of the symptoms that I've been dealing with over the last several months. And then I got a reach out from my sweet friend, Stacy McQuaid, saying that Allie was looking for someone to talk about the lymphatic system. And I was like, well, I might be able to do that for you. So the lymphatic system, guys, is a network within our bodies that works very closely with our immune system. There are tissues and vessels and organs involved, and they help to move the lymph into our bloodstream. This makes this system an integral part in conjunction with the immune system, because we need those lymph cells to help our bodies fight off negative and damaging things that come into our systems. So our lymph only moves in one direction, and that's out. And it also does not have a mechanism to move itself or to pump itself. And so some of the things that I'm going to show you today are actually going to help your lymph system to pump, to regulate, to kick out the things that don't need to be there. So this system itself is made up of our bone marrow, our spleen, which is located on the left side, just up under your ribs, your thymus here in the top of your breastbone. And interesting about this, if you battle with anxiety and panic, tapping this area can oftentimes bring those cortisol levels down, give you some relief, especially if you add some calming oils that help in that regard. But I think it's interesting that the thymus, as a part of our lymph system, is an area or a location that can help us to regulate anxiety and panic. You might want to dig into that a little deeper. So we also have lymph nodes and vessels that are included. Those vessels are key. They're tiny tubes, and they carry the lymph, which is just a colorless fluid. We call it interstitial fluid, but it carries that lymph that's actually spilling out from our blood cells. Your blood cells release extra fluid, and it's picking up that extra release and leftover from your blood cells. But it also has additional white blood cells in them. And it's our white blood cells that actually are the primary attackers to infection and any kind of disease. These lymph vessels also carry cells and fluid back into the bloodstream. So that's a good thing too. All right, so let's quickly look at the main functions of the system so you understand why it's so critically important that yours is functioning optimally. The first thing is balancing fluid levels within your tissues. Have you ever looked down and your ankles or feet are pudgy and swollen? What about other extremities in your body, even your face? This excess fluid hidden or held in the tissues is a result of a blockage in your lymph vessels. So any kind of swelling, edema, is coming from that imbalance in fluid within our tissues. And it's the lymph, a properly functioning lymph system, that will help to prevent that. It keeps those levels balanced, or at what we call homeostasis, which is what we want, that balanced, even keel. The second thing the lymph system does is that it absorbs fatty acids and it transports that fat and chyle to the circulatory system. So again, it's just giving nutrients into the bloodstream, which is so important. It's also, this is where it connects with the immune system. It is responsible for the production of our immune cells, the lymphocytes. So that's going to be your natural killer cells, your T cells, your B cells. You hear about those a lot of times when people are talking about really serious diseases like cancer. And that's producing, those lymphocytes are being produced by the lymphatic system. Also produces monocytes. We think of macrophages, and anyone who's been through my chemistry class knows I talk about macrophages. They're the Pac-Mans, right? They engulf and absorb other cells. Sometimes they're unhealthy cells that need to go away. Sometimes it's nutrients. Whatever it is, that's what a macrophage does, acts like a Pac-Man and provides adaptive immunity within our system. And then it also produces plasma cells. This is where our antibodies get started. And these are super important cells, lymphocytes, monocytes, those plasma cells, in helping us to have a really strong immune response. And in these days, we really, really need that. Finally, and this is the one I want to spend the majority of our time about today, but it's our sewage system. And as the sewage system, our lymph is actually removing cellular waste from our bodies that will then be passed through the excretory system, the kidneys, the bladder, the urinary tract, through your sweat glands, through your colon. So we want to make sure that the lymph is able to remove that waste from the body, and then that it's able to get it into the excretory system so that it can be released in the proper channels. What happens when it's improperly released? Oh, you get a headache or migraines. You feel less energy, lethargic. You just feel disgusting. You might have horrible rashes, and just nobody likes a detox like that. I would much rather, since I already have to go to the bathroom several times a day, let it come out naturally than for it to force its way out of my body in a way that's going to be unpleasant. So when we look at this sewage system, the kinds of things that this sewage system is going to remove are going to be environmental chemicals and heavy metals. Hear me, peoples, hear me. We've been talking about this in the last several weeks. And if you've not been aware of people discussing and talking about just how shots and medications can affect our bodies, and how our bodies then have to produce in a special way to get rid of the harmful substances that are being put in. And guys, understand, I know some people have medications that you have to take. I'm not saying that that's bad, but you also know that those medications have a laundry list of side effects. And if there's a way for us to help remove that environmental waste, those heavy medicals from our bodies that we've taken in from food or water or medicines, shots and vaccines, if we don't remove them, they get trapped in the fatty cells or the fatty parts of our cells in our body. They just wreak havoc all throughout our body. They're tremendously dangerous for the brain. And so we don't want them laying in our lymphatic system, causing all these problems. The second thing that this sewage system does is it removes toxic byproducts that we find in our harsh chemicals. Guys, everything you put on or in your body is either going to be helpful to you or harmful to you. And so we want to make sure that those harmful things, some of them we can't control right now, right? You go into a restaurant, they have slathered every chemical known to man on your table. It's been sprayed everywhere. They want you to put it on your hands, all the things, right? And so some of those byproducts we can't control right now. But in your home, You, as the gatekeeper of your home, you need to make sure that those harsh chemicals that are endangering you and your family need to be removed so that your body has less of that toxic byproducts to remove. But you also have to understand that you can have buildup from chemical byproducts like the medications, from toxic byproducts like these harsh chemicals that are in our cleaners and personal care products. It can linger for years and years and years and years. And sometimes we use an oil and we put it on and we think, oh my goodness, all of a sudden I have this bad response. It must be the oil. Guys, it could be something that you put on or in your body 5 years ago, that oil is actually finally drawing out and getting rid of. So our bodies like to hold on to things. They keep a memory emotionally, physically, in every way. So we want to get rid of the chemical byproducts. We want to get rid of the toxic byproducts. In addition, there are normal waste byproducts from the cellular functions that are going on within your body that's keeping you alive. As the little individual components in your cells, like the DNA and the RNA and the mitochondria and the Golgi apparatus, all of those things, as they're doing their jobs, they release waste. And so that's also something that the lymph is supposed to be removed. And then we have to worry about old and used immune cells. These then can fester in the lymphatic system, causing a myriad of problems from pain to headaches to serious illnesses. Finally, the last thing that it does is it removes bacteria, it removes virus, it removes parasites, it removes mold. But if you have blockages in your lymphatic system in any way, those cells, that bacteria, virus, all of that remain engulfed with no place to escape. And so it's up to us, our bodies. And again, I know we might not all agree in how things started in this world. I am a Jesus believer. I believe we were fearfully and wonderfully made. And as a result of that, I believe, based on scripture, based on science, that our bodies were created very intelligently and they were made to heal themselves. They were also made to reject anything that is foreign to its creation. This is why healthy bodies do so beautifully when we eat good organic fruits and vegetables. Anything that's not been modified by man. This is why our bodies work so beautifully with our essential oils, because Revelation 22:2 says that the leaves were made for the healing of the nations. 73% of our essential oils come from the leaves of a plant. Science and Bible confirming each other. I love it. But our bodies reject the things that are abnormal that man created, because it was not created to understand the chemical structures that they embody. So what are some signs and symptoms? Okay, some of you are like, I already know I have lymph issues. Well, I just told you that a few weeks ago, I wasn't sure what was going on. I had already exhausted several different avenues with my physical body, and I couldn't figure out what was that brick wall that I was hitting. And I started looking up the lymph. And so, guys, 7 of the 13 things I'm getting ready to tell you are applicable to me, like aggressively applicable. So swelling, puffy eyes, cellulite, painful and hard swellings, especially in the neck, in the underarms, and in the groin, constipation, mucus and phlegm production at like an excessive amount, bloated stomach or extremities, stiff and painful joints, chronic sinus infections, eczema, brain fog, chronic headaches, sluggishness. None of those things are beneficial, right? Who's signing up for sluggishness? Not me. I don't want any of those things to be a part of my life or a part of my body. So I know that there are blockages that are present within me, and I'm actively working on them now. This is why it's super important. You've got to remove and clear out all of those chemical toxic byproducts, cellular waste, because if we don't help the lymph system, again, since it doesn't have its own pump, it can't help itself. Okay, so what are we going to do? You might not be able to afford a lymphatic massage on a regular basis. Again, I encourage you, reevaluate where you focus your money when it comes to taking care of self. You are not capable to fully serve and minister to the needs of others if you yourself are on empty or are completely turned out. You have got to take care of you in order to take care of the people that are relying on you and counting on you. So maybe getting that lymphatic massage at least once a month would be a blessing. Those of you who really battle with lymph issues, maybe you should try once a week for a while, and then you can back off some from there. But if you can't afford to do that currently right now, I have a great company that you could work for that would help you afford it. No, I'm just kidding. I want to give you some really easy things that you can start right now in your own home, and then you can expand to some other things that you need to consider to keep your system functioning optimally. Okay. So first thing that you can do, just be active. Everyone can be more active. Because the lymph does not have a pump of its own, it needs us to move our feet and legs for at least 20 to 30 minutes a day. Any type of activity will work, whether it's CrossFit, kickboxing, just regular cardio, walking at your own home, walking inside your home. It doesn't matter. You just need 20 to 30 minutes to get those feet and legs moving. Honestly, a rebounder, which is the small personal sized trampolines, are actually going to be your best bet, because it gets both feet pumping at the same time, and that will work all the vessels all the way up through your body. But or a trampoline works too. But again, as long as you're walking or some type of movement that gets your feet and your legs moving specifically. Okay, everybody can do that. Even today, you could start today. Don't say tomorrow, do it today. If you say tomorrow, you'll put it off till the next day. All right, the next thing, you want plenty of clean water. And you're going to add some citrus vitality to that, or you might add some of our electrolyte drops that have the citrus in it. Those oils have major constituents. I like to call them my roto-rooters, because they can get into your cells and they just kick those petrochemicals to the curb. There's tons of amazing research and information out there, but in my weight loss journey, citrus oils were my number one. Grapefruit, lemon, citrus fresh, because it gave me such that powerful punch of just cleaning out the system and giving me that ability to not feel like I was ravished with hunger all of the time. So that's a big deal. I would encourage you to look at the water that you're drinking. Make sure that your filtration system is good. I personally love a Berkey, but if you can't get a Berkey or you don't have a Berkey, just make sure that you're drinking water that is filtered. Oftentimes water is full of chlorine and fluorine or fluoride, and that's actually an endocrine disruptor. It attacks your thyroid, it attacks your hormonal system instead of nourishing it. So be very careful about the water that you're actually drinking. You can also look at a whole home water filtration system. For those of you here in the US, there's a great company called AquaOx that was started by one of Young Living's Crown Diamonds, Dave Trombley. And it was a result of his cancer diagnosis and realizing it was chemicals in the water. And he and his father-in-law created this system. It is transferable. So it works that you could take it to another home if you needed to. So it's pretty amazing system. I do not get a kickback for that. I just know it's a great system and I'm telling you about it. All right, the third thing, after you exercise and drink good water, you're going to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. You don't need me to tell you what that is. You can Google that and figure out which foods are inflammatory, which foods are not. But I can tell you that all of the bad foods are on that list. Okay. So your sugars, your fried foods, sorry. Listen, once you get sugar out of your life, you're going to be craving things that are healthy for you. I promise. It happens. It happened for me. It happens for everyone. All right. The fourth thing, find a great lymphatic drainage massage therapist if you can. Because that will also be a great way. Yes, Tina, eat what God made. It's so funny because when I take some of my children to the grocery store, like they know we shop the periphery. You don't go down the aisles because that's all the processed cruddy fruit foods. You stay around the outside because that's all the foods that God made. All right. So lymphatic drain massage. Number 5, dry brushing. I'm not going to go into this a lot because I think Allie said that you all are going to get some information about this in the future, but you can easily Google dry brushing. It's an amazing technique that helps with your immune system and your lymphatic system. So, and it's something you could do like right after you get out of the shower. I would tell you too that some people like to utilize the cold shower bit at the end of their shower. That's not me. I need the water as hot as possible. But they do say that 5 to 10 minutes of super cold water at the end of your shower also awakens and alerts the lymph and the immune. So you can try it, but it's not going to be for me. And then the 6th thing is raindrop technique. Y'all just learned about this, I believe. And it's an overall body system overhaul, right? Specific techniques just for moving the lymph. And I'm going to show you a couple of those techniques today because they're a part of the VitaFlex portion that is contained in raindrop. And they are techniques that you can do with or without raindrop itself. But if you want some information on where to find someone in your area who is trained in VitaFlex and raindrop, you can go to raindroptraining.com. That is CARE's official website. And there is a listing there of all of the approved facilitators, people that are approved to facilitate raindrop and VitaFlex. So that's a great way for you to find. And CARE, guys, is located not just in the USA, but it's also available in Canada and many of our foreign markets. So most of you should be able to find it because I know we've got some people on right now that are from South Africa. All right, the 7th thing is VitaFlex. And I'm going to spend a few minutes teaching you some VitaFlex techniques because I think it's super important for you all to have some specific techniques that you can actually practice today. And VitaFlex is awesome because it can be done with or without oils. So if you've got someone in your life who is adverse to oils, they think that they're crazy, they don't want any part of it, you can still help to benefit their lymphatic system and really all of their organ systems through VitaFlex technique without even utilizing the oils. So I will show you that in just a few minutes. VitaFlex was created by Stanley Burroughs. Stanley Burroughs was an amazing man who learned that he could remove blockages from the nervous system just by applying a simple technique. And so what it is it's the pads of your fingers. They actually alert the nervous system to, hey, wake up, I'm getting ready to fire a voltage. When you roll up to the tips of your fingers where your nails used to be, yes, you have to cut your fingernails. This is firing of the voltage. And when you roll all the way so that your nail beds are flat, do you see how my fingers are flat now? This is releasing the voltage. Your pads and your tips are known as insulators. So they encourage nervous system production. And the nail beds or this side of your nail is an insulator. Sorry, pads and tips, conductors. This is the insulator, so it releases that voltage. And the beauty then is wherever you apply the VitaFlex, it's going to take that power to break away the blockages. And the same is true for the lymphatic techniques. Any blockages then that are located along the lymph, when you apply that VitaFlex technique to that area, it helps to break up the blockages. Now, I believe most of us that are on here are probably oilers. And so you all know the benefits of oils, and I'm going to share quite a few with you in just a second that can be great for the lymphatic system. But because we can do VitaFlex without oils, I want you to think about the blockages themselves, okay? And picture the blockages as a big, huge piece of concrete that's in your way, and you can't continue your path until that concrete is broken up. So if you brought in a sledgehammer and you started hammering away at that concrete, it's eventually going to go away and you're going to remove it from your body. So when that sledgehammer comes down, every bang it makes, little bits of concrete are gone. This is what VitaFlex does, is it just hammers away at that blockage until eventually the blockage is gone. But when you add essential oils along those pathways that you're working your VitaFlex on, it increases the power and the energy of that slamming away, and it makes it like a jackhammer. So it's so much faster to get rid of that blockage. So we see the benefits, even if other people don't, of adding those oils in. So we're going to get a quicker response with our nervous as well as our lymphatic system. All right. So what I want to do is I want to show you the techniques. I'm going to show you 3 different techniques: lymphatic pump, This technique is my favorite because for people that are sedentary, they can't get up, maybe they're in a wheelchair, they're bedbound. Their idea of activity is like getting up and walking 5 steps to a bathroom, and then they sit in front of their computer again. So maybe our gamers, our, hefty, hard overworkers, people like that who don't get 20 to 30 minutes of active, consistent activity at a time need this lymphatic pump. This technique is huge for really getting the lymph moving all over the body, moving in and out. And it's so important for us. So I'm going to go ahead and take the time to show you all. I've got my sweet son who my daughter's going to actually video for me. Yeah, so just keep it. I guess you can flip it around, Natalie, and then it'll be easier for you to see. Hold on one second. We're going to try to flip the camera, maybe. Yep, there's Natalie. All right, so the first thing that we want to show you is our lymphatic pump. This is Caleb that we're working on here, Caleb. He doesn't want to wave right now because he's very comfy and cozy in here. But what we want to do is I want to, with his sweet little feet, to simulate walking. Because when we walk, it's that process that moves the lymph. So if you think about how your foot is when it takes a step on the ground, okay, it just steps down flat. This starts the lymph process. When you go to lift up and your toes are a little bit bent, that's the second phase. Just before you pick your foot up, your leg elongates, okay, like this. And that's the third phase. And then the fourth phase is when you lift your foot and everything kind of relaxes. So I'm going to put this ball of his foot into the palm of my hand, just like this, on both sides. And then I'm going to be ready to curl my fingers around his toes. But the first thing is the step, right? So we push, that's the step down. Then we curl those toes back as if he was getting ready to lift a foot. Then we elongate the feet, keeping the toes curled. And then we just come back to release. Okay, so it's push, curl, elongate, release. Push, curl, elongate, release. Push, curl, elongate, release. And it's just this wave of motion. And Kayla's laughing. All right, so that's your lymphatic pump. And now I've got a couple of other little techniques that I want to show you that will also move the lymph. These techniques are included in the raindrop technique. Can you just flip over, buddy? And go all the way up. Keep it. All right. So normally if I was doing a raindrop, I would be tucking his sheet in, and we do say yes to a little bit of crack. And the reason for that is that we want to get that full sacral area. Okay, so here's his spine. Along both sides of his spines is where the muscle bands begin. And underneath those muscle bands is something known as the laminar groove. In that laminar groove, lymph fluid is held. And so this is a lot of times where we will find those stagnant old immune cells, where we will find old cells from virus, from vaccines, that chemical byproducts and things like that. And we need to move it out. So this lymph runs up here and there's little drains in the front. So if we can get it up here, the body will help to get rid of it itself. So we do a technique called thumb VitaFlex. And what we're actually doing is we're putting one thumb on each muscle band. And we've got our pads flat and we're going to flip over across the spine. That's one VitaFlex. Come back and just keep working all the way up the spine. He's ticklish and he's laughing. Caleb is always my favorite to do these techniques on. He's easily laughable. Okay, let me show it from the shoulder. Go down there now. All right, so you can also do it from up here at their shoulder. It's the same technique. Again, your fingers are alternated. They cross over and you just keep working up the spine. Can you see it low? So when I start, I'm flat. When I flip over, those nail beds are fully flat, okay? That's super important. We want to prepare, fire, release. Prepare, fire, release. And we work all the way up the spine, all the way up to the occipital ridge, because our brain stem is right there, right? That brain stem is right there. All right, so that would be thumb VitaFlex. We would do it 3 times. And then we have one more technique called saw maneuver. And again, you should have seen these during that raindrop demonstration that you just had, but I'm just going over it again because you can do these for people even if you're not doing a raindrop. You can still perform these 3 techniques to help get their lymph moving. So again, my 2 fingers are on the muscle bands on both sides of the spine. This hand is just going to keep them stable so that they don't cross the spine. I want to find his rhythm. Little kids typically have a faster rhythm. Small people have a faster rhythm, but right now his body's kind of very easily moving under my hand. And I'm just going to start dragging right up the spine. I feel those little bony processes on each of the vertebrae kind of banging in between my fingers, way up to that occipital ridge. And I would do that again 3 times. Again, just kind of like you're dragging that lymph, like the last little bit of toothpaste out of the toothpaste tube. You're dragging all the way up those lymph vessels so that then they can exit and you can get rid of these harmful things that might be stored and hanging out in the body. Okay, I'm going to flip that screen again, hopefully. Yep. All right. So the last thing that I want to do is I want to go over just a little bit with oils. Thank y'all. You've been great. And then we'll be finished and I can answer any questions that you might have. I'm going to share with you specific information that I got as I've been researching these oils specifically for the lymph. And so some of this information, almost all of it, has come from medical research journals. I don't know if you're aware, but on pubmed.gov, they have about 18,000 articles where they are showing benefits and just benefits of how the oils can work for different things. So anyway, I'm just going to share that these are some of the oils that I found and encourage you to look them up to find out why. Why would these oils be beneficial? Because I want to make sure that I'm good and compliant when we're talking about our oils. Okay, so citrus oils for obvious reasons. I already mentioned a bit earlier about adding them to your water, but citrus oils, all of them, orange, lemon, tangerine, grapefruit, tremendously beneficial. They've got so many incredible properties. I will say, because many of them are photosensitive, they have those furanoid compounds in them. Don't put them on topically and go in the sun or the tanning bed or anywhere else where UV is going to affect you, because it will burn and then it will discolor and it doesn't usually go away. So be wise about your use. Guess what? You can put your Vitality citrus oils in your mouth and still go in the sun, and it doesn't affect you at all. It's only topical usage that increases the UV exposure. So that's important for us to know. Another one that's huge is geranium. And a lot of people don't think about geranium as a stimulant for the lymph, but it's amazing when you look at all of the things that geranium can do. It's funny, as a retired midwife, I remember 2 of the plants that I recommended the most were geranium and cypress, because when you have 8 extra cups of blood in your body carrying a baby, sometimes your vessels get a little overworked and overwhelmed, and they can poke out and stick out. And no one likes the look of a giant vein sticking out of your leg, or worse yet, the nether regions. Okay, so we use those oils all the time. When we're using them for blood circulation, you always apply them rubbing upwards towards the heart. But when we're using them for lymph, you can just do some gentle clockwise circular massage in the area where you feel like it's most needed. Remember, when we use our oils topically, it gets to every cell of the body within a certain period of time. So you don't have to worry about slathering it from head to toe. But super important how well this geranium can work for you. Cypress, I already mentioned. Cypress is such a beneficial oil when it comes to the lymph specifically. I like to note cypress as the blood purifier. So because we already know that the lymph is helping the bloodstream, taking nutrients to the bloodstream, if cypress is our oil that helps to just keep that blood flowing and working like it should, we can see its benefits with lymph as well. Okay, so we can also utilize digize. We all understand the benefit of that. Remember, I said, once the lymph gets rid of the waste and sends it to the excretory system, if the excretory system is not working right, we have another problem. So we want that colon to be cleared out and ready to remove those wastes, whatever they are. So DiGize would be helpful. All of our Juvas, Juva Flex, Juva Cleanse, they're going to be beneficial because we need our liver functioning, because it's kind of the one that says, hey, I'm going to filter everything or send it to someplace else if I can't. We want that liver working so that that filtration process continues well. We look at EndoFlex. EndoFlex is great for metabolic properties. It's just good for our endocrine system, our hormones, just so many great things with EndoFlex. Plus, it also has geranium and myrtle in it. This is one thing I want to mention, because I know that we're not all in the US. We don't all have access easily to our hundreds of oils. If you're in a situation where you only have a small amount of oils to choose from, and I'm recommending an oil to you, find a blend that you have that has that single oil in it, and then you can use it in a similar way. Let's say I'm recommending a blend because Aroma Life is a blend that would be very beneficial to the lymphs. If you don't have access to Aroma Life, look at the oils that are in it, and then you can maybe take the singles that you have and just layer them one on top of the other. You don't have to make your own blend because we don't know exactly what the constituents are for that blend. But let's say, well, I know it has helichrysum, ylang ylang, marjoram, cypress with a sesame seed oil carrier. That's what's in Aroma Life. So if you, let's say you have marjoram and you have cypress and you have ylang ylang, you could just layer, put the one on, rub it in, put the next one on, rub it in, put the next one on, rub it in. Okay. So I don't want you to feel discouraged because you don't have all of the selections. You can still do everything that we can do. You just might have to be a little more creative about the way you go about it. Okay, so Thieves is great. Why? Because Thieves takes care of everything. And because our lymphs and immune work together, we can see the benefits that Thieves would have. RC. Guys, RC has become one of my favorite go-tos because it works not just for the respiratory system, but for your muscular and skeletal system. If you have anything going on with your bones, ligaments, joints, I know it seems weird, put RC on it. It works every time. So this is where I'm just like, okay, God, you know more than me. Take it away. But RC is really powerful for the lymphs as well, too. And again, if you just look at some of the ingredients, Eucalyptus globulus, Eucalyptus radiata, Eucalyptus citriodora, those are three of the top lymph oils, those three eucalyptuses, and they're all three in RC. RC would be an amazing blend to use if you didn't have all of those oils. Myrtle is listed. Pine is listed, marjoram is listed, cypress, peppermint, like almost all the lymph oils are in RC. So get yourself some RC and you'll be good to go. Aroma Life, I already mentioned. Energy is great. A lot of times we have sluggish lymph issues because our adrenals are not working in the manner that they should. Our body needs to work as a whole. This is one of the things I love about natural medicine because we look at the whole, we get to the root of the problem instead of just putting out fires and looking at one individualized thing. Citrus Fresh, of course, one of the citruses is amazing. Any of these could be used topically. You could massage them on your lymphs. Under your arms is great. Guys, we have a ton of lymphs in our armpits and all around our chest, our breast area. So that would be a great place to apply any of these oils. Again, if it's citrus and you happen to be Sally free, do not put your citrus oils all over the girls and go outside because it's not going to be a good look. Okay, you're going to be upset. So put the citrus oils where the sun doesn't shine. All the rest of your oils can go wherever. All right, I got a blend for you. Yay! We all love to make blends, don't we? I don't actually, but I still have a blend for you. You can choose to like make this up ahead of time. I wouldn't. I like to do things freshly. Just carry your cypress, orange, and grapefruit around with you. But you would use 3 drops of cypress Vitality. I'm going to be compliant. You would use 1 drop of orange Vitality, 2 drops of grapefruit Vitality. Okay. So 3 drops of cypress, 1 orange, 2 grapefruit. And you're going to add these into a gallon of either distilled. Now understand distilled water has been cleared of all impurities. Okay. It really has nothing, but it's just the fluid to get it all into your system and to flush things out. Or you can also use like filtered, filtrated water, whatever. You can add a little grade B. Now, they're not making it like that anymore. It will say similarly known as grade B. I don't know why we're not allowed to have the grades anymore. I'm sure it's probably the same reason we can't label our bottles with chemotypes. But for us, we need to know it's going to be the darkest of the maple syrup. And then drink 2 8-ounce glasses a day. So half a gallon of the water with those drops. You can add a tiny bit of the maple syrup if you want. Drink at least 2 8-ounce glasses a day. Okay. That can actually help to cleanse out and get that lymphatic system pumping as well. All right. I think, I had a couple of other oils I was going to mention, and then we'll be done because I think I've gone too long. I mentioned myrtle already in the RC, but myrtle is huge as an antioxidant, astringent. It's great for congestion in the lymph. Pine. I know a lot of you have been hearing a lot about pine lately. Pine really enhances the T cell response, those lymphocytes. Pine. That's why it's so beneficial right now, because we need it to enhance our immune system. If your lymphatic system is blocked and not producing those lymphocytes and monocytes and plasma cells, guys, this is why your immune response will be weak currently, or if you've been getting sick or whatever. That's super important for us to know. Okay. All right. I think I've covered everything. I don't know if anybody has questions. I know you were going to stop your recording before the questions.